Hello, Eagles. Temperatures are dropping as we move from fall to winter, but things are heating up as Olathe North moves towards the end of the semester. I'm Cole.
That's right. We've got only about 20 days left in class for the semester. I'm Nick, and this is your Eagles Perch. Many of our Eagles have the tough job of having a job and balancing it with the demands of classes. Harrison and Brady asked some of our student body how they do it.
What is your name, and what do you do at Olathe North?
My name's Kalinda Nix, and I do homework. I don't know.
So, how is it being a student here and balancing a job at the same time?
It's not really that hard. You just do your homework and then go to work.
Where do you work?
Work at Five Guys over on 119th Street.
Can I get a discount?
No.
What was your first job?
Five Guys over on 119th Street.
Is it at all stressful balancing a job in school?
At times, yes, because I wish I had more time to study and get things done when my boss and everyone else there.
Alright, what is your name and where do you work?
My name is Weston Gelbach, and I do landscape for old ladies.
Now, how is it balancing schoolwork and a job?
It's pretty easy because I can work whenever I want to.
When was your first job and what was it?
I was about 10 when I started mowing my first yard for money.
Have your grades had any influence on what happened when you got your job?
Not at all. Not one bit.
What is your name and where do you work?
Okay, my name's Nikki. I work at Noodles and Company.
How is balancing school and work influencing your grades or anything like that?
Grades have dropped a whole letter, and there's a lot of homework, but that just depends on what kind of classes you take. If you're in normal classes, it's not that hard, but if you're in college and AP classes, it's a lot of stress, and then doing sports on top of that.
So what was your first job and how old were you when you got it?
My first job was at Cold Stone Creamery. I was 16, and they worked me all the time and never slept or ate, and I got really sick, and then my grades dropped a lot, so then I changed jobs.
What is your name and where do you work?
My name's Tyler. I work at McDonald's, but I used to work at Cold Stone.
Why did you get fired from Cold Stone?
Well, see, what happened was I jumped up on the counter and I took off my shirt and ran around the store screaming, and so an old lady ratted me out.
How is it working at Cold Stone?
It sucks. You stay until 2 o'clock.
So how is it balancing school and a job?
It sucks. It's hard.
It really is, though.
It takes a lot of work.
Thank you for your time.
The Presidential Volunteer Service Award is for students who have earned more than 100 volunteer hours from April 1st, 2015 to March 31st, 2016. They will receive an official President's Volunteer Service Award pin, a personalized certificate of achievement, and a note of congratulations from the President of the United States, and a letter from the President's Council on Civic and Civic Participation. To be recognized, service authorities should meet national or community needs in the areas of youth achievement, parks and open spaces, healthy communities, and public safety and emergency response. Activities should be unpaid and may not include court-ordered community service. All hours must be logged online by March 31st, 2016. Please see Mrs. Clark in room 405 or email her at pclarkon@olatheschools.org for an information sheet on how to log your hours. The sheet is also on the school website under the Activities tab. Please see the age requirements below for each award. In recent national news, a homecoming parade was tragically disrupted by a drunk driver. Brennan and Jesus have this.
Driver in parade crashed at Oklahoma State University on Saturday and killed tons of people. A woman at a parade at Oklahoma State University went driving around a barricade and drove over a police vehicle. She could serve 4 life sentences if found guilty of what she did. 10 years could be served per person killed. What is your name and how do you spell it?
My name is Julia Walker, and I spell it JuliaWalker.
How would you react if a drunk driver killed one of your family members?
I would be devastated. It would be awful to lose a family member no matter what, but especially with something that could be prevented, it would be really
about driving under the influence?
I think it's not a good idea. It's a really poor decision and really irresponsible because not only are you putting yourself in danger, but you're putting others in danger.
What do you think about alcohol?
I think it's something that some people struggle with, just like any other substance abuse. But hopefully they have family and friends that will help support them and get them to treatment and so that they can work through those problems.
Don't drive under the influence or you and or others could be killed. This is
Olathe North Thespian Troupe number 3310, along with Olathe Northwest Thespians, collected 705 pounds of food as part of the Trick or Treat So Kids Can Eat. The event is an annual service project sponsored by the International Thespian Society.
These sports med students hosted an open house for 8th graders interested in learning more about the sports medicine and exercise science program. The juniors and seniors answered questions, provided demonstrations, and shared their experience as a 21st century high school student at Olathe North. These people were Bobby Guma, Lydia Kasey, Hannah Leeds, Aaron Buckner, Caleb Lunny, Hayden Foster, Chico Jackson, Noah Falcon, and Sarah Hines.
We all know that our phones are often the most important part of our lives. Let's face it, there are social, gaming, music, and video lives all in this little box. So we need the best box, the phone, that we can get. Amanda found out what happens when two tech giants clash over our beloved technology.
Apple and Samsung are in a battle. Is Samsung copying Apple's iPhone's features? In February 2012, Apple filed a lawsuit against Samsung. The case was filed when the new Galaxy S2 was coming out. Apple filed the lawsuit against Samsung because Apple won the lawsuit against Samsung. Samsung was ordered to pay $120 million for violating. Apple was paid $980 million in damages. The court ruled that Samsung was copying the iPhone. I'm Amanda, and this is Eagles News.
Cole, you ever asked for a pony for your birthday?
Can't say that I have.
Snake, scorpion, monkey, zebra, lizard, hippo? Any exotic animals?
No, but Aiden had a chance to talk to Mr. Estes in our animal health program about exotic trade and this big business.
Some people accept simple cats and dogs as their animal companions. Some other, however, prefer things to be a little bit more wild, spawning a business that brings in millions of dollars a year. But can the cash pay the cost? Wild animals aren't the only ones, however. There are hundreds of people with pit bulls and Rottweilers in private possession where their state forbids them. We go to Mr. Estes' first 2 cents.
Mostly, the reason would be, well, it's kind of twofold. They're pretty expensive. They require a lot of care. But also, a number of exotic pets come from other areas in the world, and we have a real problem with invasive species in our country. So I don't really want to contribute to that. No, not necessarily. But I definitely think there are situations where, any dog can be a vicious dog, and certainly some breeds are, more prone, if not handled correctly, to kind of end up being more violent. But just banning one specific breed because of its reputation, I don't think that's exactly right either. Sure. Yeah. I don't think there's a need to put a limit necessarily on certain kinds of animals, but you do have to have limitations on a number of animals. I don't think you can just try to domesticate any animal just because you want to own it. I think there's a number of exotic pet trade individuals who are not doing the right thing, and it kind of gives the whole industry a bad name. You have to be really careful with invasive species and dangerous species. So the exotic pet trade as a whole I don't think it's really a good thing overall, but I understand the desire for it. Mixed bag. There's certainly some individuals who are doing the right thing in the exotic trade. However, it probably needs to be more narrow, and there's enough unscrupulous people that it's probably not worth it overall.
So, if you're thinking about bringing in a croc or a tiger into your home, this reporter suggests you weigh the risks before you do. This is Aiden Thomas Torres, signing off.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Cole.
And this has been Eagles Perch.
Have a fantastic day, Eagles.